Meyer's Dussack, the Eber section, the Boar section. So one of the things he talks about is like, I'm in Boar, he's going to throw a cut, and what I can do is I'm going to take a step with my right foot forward and do this, and basically do this very standard moulinet parry, right? So if I can only get to the inside, boom, boom, right? Everybody should be familiar with that. So give me a long point for a sec. So generally when we're talking about changing through, stepping through, blah, 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 we're talking about starting on one side and sort of coming underneath and going to the other side, right? So somehow I need to do this or step through, okay? All right, so go ahead.
If he cuts from above, then step with your right foot towards his right.
Oh, towards his right, which is over here.
And thrust the point of your Dussack straight at his face. And with this thrusting forth, catch his cut on your long edge. When the cut knocks or connects, then wind through with your hilt under his right arm up towards your left.
Okay, all right. So that's basically most of it. So this is the thing that's always kind of bugged me. Like, there are instances where the idea is to step either this way or this way, but do it like sort of as a tactical decision, right? If I am presented with one thing, I'm gonna go inside, but if possible, I wanna go to the outside. And if I'm starting to do this, and I need to all of a sudden do this, it just doesn't make sense. So, all right, so here's the thing, right? That box step, see what happens now, right? So, boom, boom. So the real key here is the fact that when I am taking a step with my right foot forward, there's a critical piece that has to happen before that, which is I'm going to switch my feet, which means I'm going to move my left foot first. Always think, this is the key. When they tell you to take a step forward with that right foot, it's kind of crazy, but if, again, motivated purely by physics, you should be absolutely thinking, where am I moving my left foot first? Because I have choices, right? The fastest thing will be to simply do this, but I can pull that a little bit forward if I want to go forward. I can even pull it back if I want to go further back. This left foot, when you move it, gives you the extra opportunity to find your range as well as find your angle relative to your opponent, right? So when he cuts, boom, or boom. So really, really, really critical in terms of giving you that extra moment to actually be able to make a decision on where you're supposed to be going. Okay, so one more time. Boom, and I can keep going, or boom, boom. And by the way, one more time, if I can get to this outside, all of these actions here, so-called winding cut from Meyer, okay? Okay, so the next question is, how does that translate over to the longsword piece? We went down that rabbit hole with the Dussack to sort of show how that box step really helps us. So how does that help us here with this particular passage for longsword? So again, I want you to sort of take it from the top there.
When you stand in the right wrath guard, and when your opponent cuts at you from his right against your left, then slide over your head and under his blade with a step forward on your right foot, and catch his cut with your flat so that your thumb stands underneath and the blade hangs down by your left side, somewhat towards the ground.
So note, I am not nearly so close on the opponent anymore, right? I was same distance as before, yep, okay.
And when it clashes, then step with your left foot towards his right side and wind the short edge under his sword inward at his head.
Okay, all right, here we go. So again, the whole idea is every time they tell me to do a pivoting step, I need to consider what to do with the other foot first. So it's not just this, step with the left foot, it's this, right? And when I'm here, he's got pressure on me, right? Which is why I can do this kind of safely. I'm definitely still in danger here. But again, I'm kind of coming here, and that's my defense if he starts coming through, right? And he can't take away pressure totally, because this is threatening him, right? So from here, that's how you get him to stay there a little bit. Okay, so let's do that kind of all together in time. Boom. Okay, all right, so from here, one more time.
Now when you have wound, then hold your sword with the short edge on his sword, and wrench with your sword upwards to your right, as the small figures in middle image F teach you, etc., so that at the end of the wrenching, you cross your hands in the air, strike him with the inside flat at his lower right opening, yet such that your hands remain up, and as soon as he slips after to parry, then do not let it connect, but pull back up and deliver a clashing cut at his left ear. And in this stroke, let the blade swing deep in, palm away from him, and thus swiftly fight away from him.
Okay, so again, trying to put this all together smoothly. Go slow, all right, so. But you'll notice basically what you end up doing and what this box step, when you're doing this kind of stuff, if you start throwing in angles, and I start moving sideways, it starts to look, here, I better start over here, 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 let's see, here. So if it's here, it's gonna look this way. And if I go the other way, here, 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 and you start seeing motivation for this kind of footwork. And of course, I'm probably out of frame again, so let's try this again. So here, okay. That kind of what he calls triangle stepping comes into play very naturally. All right, so over here, one more time. So boom, boom, wrench, crumpet. So an awful lot of basically triangle stepping in order to actually make all that stuff work. So here's the really cool thing, right? That's a lot in there. To me, like the really cool idea, so from here, this guy, this kind of position is something that I don't think anyone has really explored very much, right? So I think people have done things like maybe at most hanging parry of some sort, but the idea that you're doing this and actually being able to use your footwork to get even further to the outside in this kind of like, people used to call this like a crowfoot kind of position. One more time, boom. Right, I can get to that outside much more easily that way. Right. So real quick piece about putting this into practice, right? So going back to the whole idea of a passing step, right? This whole thing, I am not at all saying throw this out. What I am saying is the box step includes this as one of its possibilities, right? The box step model allows us to actually broaden the possibilities for stepping forward and pivoting, okay? So really, right, if this is the box step, right, and I'm gonna take a step with this right foot forward, what I'm saying is you're gonna choose where you're gonna put the step, and the sort of like standard passing step is literally taking this step and I'm choosing not to move it. That's all it is, right? So you can absolutely do this, which is basically this. There is no way you're taking this step without transferring weight onto this foot, okay? So instead of making that foot always in the same place, I'm simply choosing to move it, right? And so if we look at the extremes of this model, when I choose to place this foot, I can place this foot way out here, actually. So my longest distance forward is going to be, right? So it has the advantage of being the longest distance, but it's also the slowest, right? Alternatively, going backwards, what I can do is I can place this foot here, and then I basically don't need to move the front foot forward at all. If someone's rushing me, I can absolutely do this, right? And, and then just in between, usually you're not dealing with those kinds of extreme ranges. And so if he's just throwing a normal cut without changing his distance too much, it's this kind of boom. And that's how I sneak to his outside. Right. Oh, so then the drill. So one thing that I think would be kind of neat is, so this left foot, to me, one of the key things is a range finder, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to just move back and forth and give me a target to hit. But like I have to make that decision, you know, at the time of stepping, right? So basically from here, okay, that's good. So from here, if that's my target, the whole idea is to, how do you do this and keep distance on just hitting with the tip of the sword. And that's definitely something that's pretty new. I haven't really played with it, but does that make sense, the idea? So I think to actually kind of do it again, and this time do the transitions not nearly as far distance-wise so that people can, so for instance, I can figure out like, okay, what is the little adjustment? You know, okay, so from here, just like that, just like that.